everyone, and welcome back to the show, Amy Weber Unleashed. I am Amy Weber, of course. I've got the coolest guest on my show today, Jon Orlando.
Oh, that's so weird. I got so excited. I was like, wow, who's on with us? It was me.
Thank you so much for coming.
Hey, yeah, it was easy.
I mean, this whole entire thing really was born out of, us having a reconnection and getting it together.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's what I loved is you were so excited about it. Like
I know. I was like, I get to do something and get maybe possibly paid to just talk and not shut up.
It's good.
Yeah.
You having fun with it?
I love it. It's really, it's cathartic for me, and I'm really hopeful that it's gonna change people. I mean, I'm like one person at a time. Probably seems really corny, but hopefully, I mean, look, I think that if anyone can share their story and their struggle, that the fact that they came through it and were successful in spite of it, I think it's a good thing to share.
Yeah,
I think there's
for sure.
no wrong with that.
Are you releasing these in the order that you recorded them?
I don't know. Haven't decided. I mean, I think I might start, but it might be that if one is more similar to another, then I may kind of mix them up and stuff. So
because the last show I saw you do was intense. That was good.
That was crazy.
Yeah, it was good.
That one really went in depth about my my infertility struggles and that whole journey and stuff. So how long have you ever been on this side of the microphone?
Yeah, a couple times.
You have?
Yeah.
Do you like it, or do you rather be in control?
That's interesting. I like being in control. I wouldn't say it that way, but I don't know if I'm interesting to be on this side.
Really?
Yeah.
I have so many questions for you.
Like
and we have such a rich history. Well, I want to know because obviously your father was quite famous.
Yeah.
How old were you when your dad really kind of made it big?
Well, he had his first number one the year I was born, which was Candida and Knock 3 Times. Both those songs were 71.
Okay.
Tie Yellow Ribbon was 73, so I was 3. I was born in 70.
Okay, me too.
Yeah. So, I don't know any better than growing up with a famous dad. I kind of wish I was a little older.
So you could have enjoyed it
back
a
then,
bit more.
because I was so young, I didn't really get it,
So it didn't seem different than any of your friends that you had an incredibly famous father that was on TV.
Yeah, but I did, I said stupid things because I didn't know any better. So, and I don't remember doing this. My mom tells me these stories. But I guess I went to a Dodger game. So we had season tickets, like the Dodgers.
Of course you did.
We had, the dugout seats, and, they were great. And, my dad was big back in the day, in the 70s.
Yes.
Because you got to remember, there was no satellite TV. There's no social media. There wasn't even Fox as a network yet.
Okay.
There was CBS, NBC, ABC. So he had a show on CBS every Wednesday night on top of the recording stuff. He had a variety show for 3 years on CBS. So you had to watch my dad's show, even if you didn't like him. You only had 2 other choices.
You had no choice.
Right. So just out of boredom,
Was this before or after the Sonny and Cher show?
So he replaced Sonny and Cher. They got divorced, and Tony Orlando and Dawn was the replacement show.
Wow.
Yeah. So, so I grew up obviously living the rock star life, whatever. He wasn't like rock star, behavior wise, but I just mean the fame stuff. And so then I guess I got invited to go to a Dodger game by one of my friends, with their tickets. And I guess I was at the house and I asked his mom, I was 7 or 8. I was like, what time does the limo come to pick us up? Because Dodger game meant you ride in a limo. Doesn't everyone take a limo to the Dodger game? I didn't know. Yeah. Who knew?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's crazy because I was never really into rock stars. That wasn't my thing. But I did date a guitarist for Vince Neil of Motley Crue fame. And he had said, oh, you should come on tour with us. And I thought, yeah, what a splendid idea, right, at the time. Until I was actually on the tour bus and sort of backstage and seeing what happened. And I thought, these stories about these women, what they'll do and say to the bodyguards it is all true.
It's so funny that you say that. So we used to do a show called Vegas Junkies that we're going to bring back. But we had DJ Ashba on the show, who's not a DJ. His real name is DJ. But he replaced Slash in Guns N' Roses. And so he's a guitar player.
Yeah.
So he was on the road with Guns N' Roses for 6 or 7 years. And one of the questions I asked him on that show is I said, when people picture you guys being, on tour, just crushing girls and destroying hotel rooms and partying your ass off. Is that really what it's like? And I thought maybe he was going to say no, and he goes, oh, that's exactly what it's like.
That's exactly what it's like. Actually, I believe we were in maybe Canada. It was snowing. I just remember it was snowing really late. It's like 3, 4 in the morning. And I just remember getting back on the tour bus, and somehow, I don't know how it transpired, but I just see this naked woman being drugged by her hair, and thrown off the bus like a bag of trash. And I'm like, what are you doing? And whatever. Vince was like, you thought it was like, fuck you, fucking asshole. It's not funny.
Right.
It's a human being. What are you doing? And well, she was like, literally, I think she had a bottle of Jack in one hand and they had her hair in the other, and off she went. And it was just eye-opening. And I thought, I can't be around this situation.
How old were you then?
Definitely mid-20s.
Okay.
Yeah, mid-20s.
How long were you with him, with the guy?
Yeah, like 3 weeks.
Oh, okay.
4 weeks. It was a quick.
Yeah, the tour was enough.
It was enough. An eye-opener to say, I don't really want to be around these kind of individuals.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's funny. Were you and I ever at the Playboy Mansion together?
I don't know if we ever were together. We threw a couple events there. I don't know, like maybe in 06 or 07, we did an event there the night of the baseball All-Star game, the night before the ESPY Awards.
Okay.
It was called All-Star Night at the Mansion. We did it with Rodney Peete. Were you ever there with Rodney Peete? And
is that Holly Rod? No.
For Holly Rod Foundation?
No, that seems like it's very clean and homey, and no. I was only there when people were scantily clad.
Okay, yeah, well, it was scantily clad.
Oh, they
but
were?
It wasn't, but, it's still Playboy Mansion. But yeah, it wasn't, it wasn't a hef party,
right.
But, there were still, body-painted girls and girls in lingerie, and, it was pretty crazy.
That whole thing.
I actually love the mansion. I spent most of the time there. Well, it's different, because when you're working the event, you're in work mode, whatever. Right. But I used to just love going back in the back there and feeding those monkeys with those grapes and stuff.
Oh my gosh, all the animals.
Snatch it right out of your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think most people got to experience that, because that was sort of cordoned off when they were having the parties and stuff. Yeah, I was always afraid to go into the grotto because I wasn't sure what was going to be happening in that moment of going into the grotto. And I remember one time all my friends would be like, you can get in, please get us in, we'll pay you. I'm like, I don't want to get paid, And so there was this one girl who, really sweet, lovely friend of mine, always wanted to model, but just didn't quite kind of make the cut with anyone.
Yeah.
I thought she was really pretty, really tall girl, but she was really loud. When she spoke, she's one of those loud talkers.
Yeah.
And so you were always hoping that she never, broached a topic while anyone else was around that could be really inappropriate. Well, lo and behold, we're on the bus, because you couldn't park normally at the mansion unless you were, of course, some uber famous person like Michael Bay. And then we're on the bus, and they, they're playing music and everyone's partying. And then I don't know what happened, but she's in the middle of telling me this story about her father, because I didn't know what her father did for a living. And the minute that she goes to say, we hit a bump, the entire sound system goes down, and she goes, and he does penis implants, right? And everyone's just like, just stop. And they look at me like somehow I'm responsible. But then she didn't stop there. It's quiet as a mouse. And she's telling me, you can go as big as 16 inches. I mean, she's talking really, and I'm just like, got it. I got it.
That's a lot to handle.
It was 16. A lot. I was just like, who would do that?
Yeah.
Who would make that choice?
There's definitely someone.
How do you jog?
There's always someone.
But how do you jog?
Yeah.
How do you do anything? You know what I mean?
It's
just like, oh my gosh. I remember I was just so embarrassed, and I was so happy that I wasn't really a pot smoker. Mm-hmm. My friend had pot that particular time, and I'm like, oh God, just please pass it over. Because I was just like,
you needed something.
I needed something, because I'm mortified, because she just kept saying weird things. Enrique Iglesias was there, and he had removed his famous mole from his face, and she just couldn't get past the fact that he had removed the mole.
I didn't even know he did that.
He did. And so she was just like, Enrique, you know what I mean? I'm like, no, please stop. Please stop. Yeah. You know what I mean? So she beelined it for him. Where's your mole? What happened? He's like, yeah.
Wow.
Can someone get the crazy chick? Who does she belong to? And I was just like, you know what I mean? But yeah,
they were good parties up there, though. Good
They
food.
were. No, listen. Yeah, the food was incredible.
Yeah.
The food was really good. I mean, I think as a girl, for me, it was always a matter of what do I wear? Right? Because like for me, I was like, okay, I need to be in lingerie. I don't want to be in like pajamas.
Yeah.
Because that just looks like I'm a complete,
The rule of thumb on that one there is less is more,
But then you want to be, for me, I was an actress. I wanted to be respected.
Right.
So it was a fine line between, see-through and not see-through. And
that's probably the hardest part, I would think, of your job back then being an actress, is that being sexy but being respected.
Right.
And you did a good job doing that. I feel
because
like
I was lucky. Because like one week I was doing Fredericks of Hollywood, and the next week I was doing JCPenney's.
Right.
Or I was doing, Timex or Chrysler, and then I would be doing Coors Light. Yep. So I was lucky that I was able to kind of navigate both sides of that spectrum of being very wholesome, but then being kind of sexy. And so I know a lot of my friends that were also sort of, modeling, they were so pissed at me.
Yeah.
Because I would kind of try to say to them, even back then I would say to them, listen, I know, like, do you enjoy doing like trucking magazine covers or lowrider?
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but they're literally paying you shit, like $50.
Yeah.
And until you say, no, I'm better than $50, I'm better than lowrider magazine, no one else is going to take you seriously.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I'm not doing that because I feel like I'm worth more. And the minute that I said I'm worth more, the jobs that were worth more came my way.
Yeah.
I mean, I did one featured extra role, and that was for Baywatch. I think we talked about this before. And that was the opening credits of Baywatch. And the strangest thing was that there was an older man on the show. I don't remember who he was. But my fondest memory of that was, first of all, the water was cold as hell. I mean, California, the West Coast, the water doesn't warm up.
Yeah.
I don't know what happens, but like, when you're in Florida, the water is warm.
Right.
California,
it's freezing.
Dirty freezing and not fun unless you're in a full wet suit, right? Like a winter suit. And so the girls are like, oh, and I'm like, just do it. Do you understand they have one take at this? We have dry hair, we go wet hair. You got one take. So you standing around and bitching, it's just getting colder as the kind of sun starts to go down. Just get in the water, right? Let's just be done with this. And so as we're waiting, and then the guy, whatever, second AD, third AD, probably fifth AD, whatever he was like, background strip. And I thought, what the fuck did you just say to me? Like, I'm a idiot, you know what I mean? Like, did you really tell me to take my strip? Like, I'm not a stripper. I mean, I like strippers. They're cool. You know what I mean? I'll go to a strip club, but like, why would you treat me like that? And in that moment I thought, no, I'm not doing this anymore. And then there was this old man, and he was trying to make us feel better. But I think he had gas. He had really bad gas that day. And I just thought, he kept turning circles. And I kept thinking, sand doesn't make noise. So if you're trying to cover for your flatulence that's very loud, it's not working. I'm like, actually, you're making it worse because as you turn, you're basically sharing your stinky flatulence with everyone.
Yeah.
Because you're now a windmill.
Right.
You're a stinky ass windmill.
It's no good.
And he kept turning and turning and farting. And we were all just like, is anyone else seeing this? Right. And then suddenly we're soaking wet. They had no towels for us. And then I said, okay, I'm done with Baywatch. And then cut to whatever, 3 years later, I'm on a glacier in Alaska for the Baywatch movie or whatever it was for Inside Sports. You remember Inside Sports?
Yeah, the magazine. Yeah. Sure.
So modeled for them, and they're like, oh, so we're going to do a like a dual thing where we're shooting the magazine within the show. And so you're one of the models for the magazine. So yay, you get to be also on Baywatch. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. And so Carmen Electra was there. There were a lot of people there. And it just got really uncomfortable because first of all, they wanted me to get into glacial water. And they said I had maybe 8 minutes before I got hypothermia. And I kept thinking, I think I'm getting paid editorial rate for this. And this is not really worth it. And then I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to be shooting, I'll go and shoot. They dropped me on a, glacier in a bikini and the shots were really cool, whatever. And we're on a disgusting cruise and I'm in this closet with this other girl. And then they go, okay, so now we're going to do this shot like on the boat in this shower. I'm like, no, I'm not getting in the shower. We don't, so just follow Carmen's lead. And so like Carmen's in the shower and she's like licking like the Emma. You want me to do, I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? And she's like gyrating, like humping the shower. And I just thought, I'm not doing that.
Is that hard to do on a set, like to say no? Because there's got to be so much pressure, right? Like, because everyone looks at you funny. Like,
yeah,
like,
no.
Oh God, it's one of these.
Of course,
right?
and you're difficult. Suddenly you're
Right.
difficult. But I said I did not sign up for this.
Yeah.
I'm not licking a shower, and I'm not going to hump a shower wall. Yeah.
That's where your line is drawn.
That is exactly where my line is drawn. I mean, like the very first movie I was ever on, I was supposed to be talk about Hollywood. I was supposed to be literally a day player, maybe 2 days on set. And then the lead broke her arm and they said, oh, we want to offer you this part. I read the script. There was nothing objectionable in the script. There were a lot of really famous soap opera actors at the time in the movie. And so I thought, okay, all good. And then they switched directors and the director ended up being a former Playboy, apparently, director, which seemed fine. Thought maybe he's just trying to, change course in his life. And so he said to me, hey, Amy, listen, we've made some changes. In this particular scene, we've turned it into a bondage scene in which you need to be topless. And I go, no, that's actually not going to happen. And it was my first movie. And so I'm nervous. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what the rules are.
Right.
And
are you kind of worried about career suicide also?
Yes.
Like you have to be, right?
So I call my manager and I'm thinking, I go, you need to call this guy and, tell him this is not going to happen. And he goes, and my manager at the time said, why are you causing problems? Yeah. And I'm alone. I'm literally, and then the director says to me, we're losing light, you stupid bitch. And for every 15 minutes, I'm going to charge you for the production cost if you don't take your freaking top off and get your tits out, right? And I'm like, I'm in tears at that point because I'm like, I don't want to do this.
Right.
Like, it's okay. Like, okay, if it's for the storyline and it was something that was important, but I was just so trapped. And so at that time, it was like, I just did it. And I look back now and I always said I will never have regret in my life. I had a full academic scholarship. I quit that, took on 3 jobs to come to California to really pursue my dreams. And that was the one regret I had, is that I let that guy bulldoze me.
Yeah.
And after that, I
get it though. Like I mean, it happens daily, right? Like
daily.
It's probably so hard to say no to that.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have these, these, girls, men, whatever it is, you have these dreams. And I'm sure men, as well. Obviously, with the Me Too movement, I think things have probably changed a lot. But back in the day, I had, ex-boyfriends or people I was dating that would say, I was shooting with very famous photographers, people you probably really know or have heard of. And, he's like reaching inside my underwear to readjust my package. And I didn't know what to do. And, at the time, people probably on the outside are thinking, well, just, that's ridiculous. You have power. But you think it's such a small town.
Yeah.
It's such a small town. Yeah. And if one person says this is a difficult person to work with, you're done.
Yeah.
You're done.
And that peer pressure, I think, when you're in those situations and what you internalize in the moment is probably so hard to step up and like stand up for yourself in those situations because you don't want to be the rookie. Right. You don't want it, right? You don't want to be the one that's like difficult, whatever. Like it's got to be tough to deal with that dynamic.
Yeah, and look, if that's the path that you want to take, is that you're cool with nudity and that was, your thing.
Yeah.
I was not a judgmental person, but it's like I was in a 2-year Meisner program. I was studying at Groundlings to do stand-up. It just, there were so many things that I had so many dreams and aspirations that I knew that this could potentially just kill. But at the same time, this guy's telling me he's going to sue me. No one is saying he can't do that.
Right.
Nothing in the script said, and so, it was a very brief moment in time. But I still to this day think, gosh, why didn't you have the backbone? You're such a strong woman. Why didn't you just tell that guy to go fuck himself?
Yeah.
And so,
it's tough in the moment. It's just tough in the
moment.
It
is tough in the moment. Not anymore. not anymore.
Yeah.
I've definitely learned.
That comes with age, though, and experience.
It comes with age, experience. I think it comes with just kind of coming into your own power and kind of understanding, not even being like in a stuck up way, like what your self-worth is as a human being, not just in work, but also in relationships.
Yeah.
Kind of figuring out like, I kind of deserve better than someone who doesn't understand that when they take money out of an ATM machine, they need to deduct that from their balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured that out.
You know, most people just by nature, I'd say probably more than 99% of the people, it's like they're not confrontational. People by nature are not confrontational. So when you're in those situations, whether it's that or you're about to get in a fight or whatever it might be, most people, their first instinct is they freeze.
Right.
And when they freeze, it's like, it's either, it's fight or flight, and most people pick flight.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Just easier.
Which is crazy because after that experience, I went to the other extreme. So, my dad was a very physically violent person, and I never thought I had that in me. And so I carried so much hatred and anger after that movie around that. I was actually at a gas station and just pumping gas, and I saw this man and his kid, and I saw him backhand his son in the face. And I charged straight over to the man and punched him right in his nose.
I love it.
Not thinking like assault charges, being
just
sued.
Instinct.
It was this instinct of the opposite of flight, which was I just wanted to fight. I literally was like, wanted to put on a cape, and I wanted to rescue every single abused kid in the world. And then, I didn't think about what was going to happen. I just literally clocked the guy.
And then I'm curious about this. Is it easier for you to do that, to defend someone else than you because of your...
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, to give a voice to the voiceless at this point. Even, I talked about my kids a lot when they were in the NICU and there were things being done, it's like they always had to have their eyes checked because kids that are premature, sometimes like the retina, things don't actually come together and they have to try to intervene. And so they would put those clamps. My kids were like literally 4 weeks old and they weighed 2 pounds and they're clamping their eye. And I literally was just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And they're crying. And it was weird because my kids never cried, which is crazy. I was so on top of everything. I didn't ever want to hear them cry because I wanted their needs to be met. So I fed them right before they would cry to be hungry. And I changed them before because for me, as an abused kid, it was like, I don't want my kids to hurt and cry.
Sure.
And so I literally the nurse couldn't get, the clamp, and the other nurse was like, well, I've done this before. Let me do it. And she, there I went, beeline for her, grabbed her by her neck, threw her up in the hospital against the hospital wall. And I was just like, get your fucking hands off my kid. And it's like, I had to figure out like, Amy, that's too much.
Right.
You need to, like
therapists. Your in anger management.
Therapists
course.
are like,
I want to dial it down a little bit.
If you're a 3, they say you probably won't get to a 10, but maybe you want to whatever. And I was like, I went to like a 12 on the anger Richter scale.
Yeah.
And I did need to kind of come back. And so, just with age, obviously a lot of reading and therapy and self kind of reflection. Don't worry, I'm not.
No. I'm just make sure I'm going to pick my words really carefully for the rest of this.
But no, I definitely am. Look, as a little kid, I couldn't even look anyone in the eyes.
Wow.
I couldn't look. Even when I came to California, I always had downcast eyes.
Which is weird that you chose acting and you chose
to expose yourself. But when you're an actress, that's not you. Right. You're able to escape into another character. And so you're able to be vulnerable and expose yourself in an emotional way that I couldn't personally, which was so freeing, really, for me. But
that must have been frustrating then, because based on your looks, they're trying to make you girl in hot tub, the girl at, right? Like,
hot tub number 3.
No, you know what I mean? Like, that's the instinctual roles that they offer girls like that.
Right. Which I just wouldn't take.
Right.
A million times. Like, do you want to go read for Married with Children? Again, same hot tub, girl number, whatever, or girl in the bed with Charlie Sheen on Married, or like, what was that show he was on? Charlie Sheen.
2.5 Men?
2.5 Men. Whoever was sleeping with him
Yeah.
randomly. And I was just like, no, I don't really want to do that, you know?
Was that frustrating? Because then you're like, you have to play the waiting game for a role that you would want to take when you're just getting, like, sooner or later the word gets out, like, okay, stop sending this to Amy Weber. She's not going to do it, right?
Yeah, I think for me, it was just, let me just get more training under my belt. Let me just validate myself through, you know, whatever classes and whatever education that I can get. So that people will take me more seriously. And it was just really a lot of independent films until I could kind of start to, you know, get the CSI reoccurring in some of these things. And I mean, look, I worked a lot. I was really lucky, but I just knew what I wanted. And I knew that Hollywood has such a narrow, like, opinion. The minute you go down that road, that's it. You are forever sort of categorized as that. I mean, look, even as if you look at some of the, you know, superheroes that were really worried, like, I don't want to take on the Superman role because then I will forever be known as Superman, and then that's it. I can't break out of that particular role. I mean, look, obviously this wasn't as big as Superman, but I just did not want to be seen as that. I mean, even, you know, dating Michael Bay, you know, briefly in life, because, you know, I thought I could, you know, change him. He kind of he didn't have a great reputation in the business because people said he was really rude, and but behind the scenes, he actually was a really great person, a really nice guy. And I knew what his issues were. And I always felt like it was like his adoption kind of thing gave him these things where he, you know, like we all have like some fear, you know, fear of abandonment, whatever it was. And so I just would never walk the red carpet with him. I couldn't do it because then I would forever be known as so-and-so's girlfriend.
Right.
And so I'm like, I'll meet you there.
Did that bother him?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, I would think.
Yeah. But I didn't want to be arm candy.
No, I get it. I get it. Because then also it's like it's lose-lose for you, right? Because then any role you get, it's because she's with Michael.
It's because
like
she's,
can't win.
I can't win. There was just a no win. And so, you know, I mean, look, even now with real estate, it's like I have like my master's degree in real estate. I got my broker's license very early on. You're not supposed to take it unless you have at least 3 years experience, or if you've made enough, you've actually sold enough, they let you take it early, which I had. And then it's like, you know, certified real estate specialist and, you know, senior real estate specialist, like all these things I just keep, you know, luxury real estate, because I feel like for me, you know, I need to prove to people that I take this very seriously. And I want to understand every single facet so that people can trust me with their home sale or their home purchase. And whether that's 1 million or 50 million, they know that basically like I can handle it.
Do you watch that reality show on Netflix? I don't know what it's called, about real estate.
Is it Selling Sunset?
Yeah.
That one?
Do you watch that or no?
I haven't really watched it, but I was kind of excited because I ended up with a listing. I didn't know the Oppenheimer guys very well, but you know, the seller had said, well, it was you or the Oppenheimer, and, you know, we really want to go with you. And I was like, okay, great. That sounds wonderful. Then, you know, I get in my car, I'm like, yes, I've made it. You know what I mean? I beat out the Oppenheimer guys. Yeah. But no, I always wonder because, look, I'm on the inside of real estate. I'm with the agency. I mean, we sold the Playboy Mansion and we sold the Spelling Mansion. So, you know, we're really known for selling some pretty high profile pieces of real estate. And I just always wonder, like, are they handing these deals to these women? Are these women actually like getting these deals on their own? Because it's not super easy to catch an $80 million fish. Just letting you know.
Yeah, it's got to be so tough. Do you know Mike Palumbo? Have I asked you that before?
I don't know. I don't think.
He's a designer.
Oh yeah, you mentioned him.
Yeah, like he designs these homes. They're like eight, like you said, 80 to 100, even 150. I think they have one that's 200 million. You may even know the listing. It's like who's buying these? Yeah.
Well, you know, okay, so Adele just recently bought the home. She had like a $50 million house, and so she just bought the one next to her. I think it was Kristen, oh my gosh, she's married to Dax Shepard. I think it might have been their...
Kristen Bell?
I think it might have been their home. And so it's like, so she bought like another like 30, 40, you know what I mean? And it's like, what are we doing with this? It's a compound? We're creating compound. Or you don't want a neighbor. Maybe that's the situation.
When they buy a house like that, are they putting like, they're not buying it in cash, right?
Some are, yes.
No shit.
Yeah. There's a lot of foreign money that will come in, and that's why you have new laws that always are coming into place. And basically, there is a law called FIRPTA, and that's where it's like a foreign entity that what they do is if you do not have a U.S. If you're not filing taxes, the U.S. government will hold 30% of the proceeds, right, of the house, even if, you know what I mean, it's a buyer, because it's the seller's responsibility to make sure, which is just so backwards, like that if you're selling to someone who is foreign, you have to make sure that those taxes get paid. And it's like, or if you're selling a house that you owned and you're not filing taxes, then good luck getting that 30% ever back.
Right.
Yeah. I tell people, listen, you need to file a corporation before you put your house on the market, and just make sure that you have all your ducks in a row. Otherwise, it could take 3 years for you to get that money back. And then who knows how much of it will be left after that.
Wow.
Yeah. It's insane.
And when they don't pay in cash, it's like they're putting 10% down. Like, is that a thing on those crazy $80 million spots?
No, they're not usually 10% down. I mean, it's usually pretty a hefty 30 to 50% down. Yeah.
And is it
because to finance that much money? I mean, that's
crazy, right?
Yeah.
And do those people ever have a hard time getting finance? Like, do they have like?
No.
They don't have any issue.
They don't have any issue.
Okay.
No. I mean, they have enough assets that basically, and it's not like you're getting like a pre-approval from these people, right? I mean, you're speaking to their business manager and their financial manager that are basically saying, we have had a relationship with so-and-so for this many years. Basically, like, they're good for it.
Are there times where you never even speak to the actual buyer?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, actually, I was selling a pretty stately home in Glendale, of all places, called the Toll House. And it was named that because the teachers of this particular school, Toll High School, it was their home. So it was a historical home. And there were so many like rock stars and people that their assistants would come and FaceTime or do a walkthrough. And then there's also a lot of foreign entities that their assistants have power of attorney, and so they don't see the house until they move in.
Wow.
Which is crazy. Yeah.
And then furnishing those bad boys has just got to be insane. I mean,
so fun.
They're not going to IKEA.
They're not. Listen, if they're going to IKEA, they're going to grab some people at Home Depot on the way home from IKEA to put those things together.
That's so funny. I know an interior designer in LA, and she was trying to get this job. This guy from the Middle East bought like a $40 or $50 million house in Laguna, and he went to Z Gallery.
Seriously?
Yeah. She was appalled. She couldn't get her head wrapped around
that he went to Z Gallery.
That he went to Z Gallery. Like, I kind of get it, but
listen, I'm married to a Middle Easterner, so I kind of understand that.
Yeah.
There's the mirrored furniture.
Z Gallery. He just decked it all out. Z Gallery.
Wow.
Yeah, she was really mad.
I'm sure.
My buddy's wife. Yeah.
I mean, listen, I love a good CB2 Z Gallery, but when it comes to that kind of thing, you got to have basically custom furnishings.
Right.
Made. Oh my goodness, that's so.
Hey, there's a rug on page 9 in that catalog I just got.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'd like 2 of those.
2 of those.
How's that work?
Oh my God. Yeah. That's so funny. And the funny thing with the Z Gallery and even Pottery Barn Restoration Hardware, I mean, none of that shit's in stock.
Right.
It's not. I mean, you're waiting. You know what I mean?
You're waiting anyway.
He would have been better off at IKEA. He could have just got his shopping thing and just loaded up, A59, whatever, under the cart and just been done with it.
Oh my God.
I know, it's crazy. So yeah, it's been a wild ride, and it's amazing for us to come back together and connect in this way, which is really awesome. I had no idea that you had done stand-up or...
Yeah, I did stand-up for 10 years. I started opening for my dad back in like 93.
How was that?
It was fun, but I never, it's weird. I never actually felt like a stand-up comedian. I wasn't the best writer. Material-wise, and I had like a reverse stand-up career. Like, normally you'd go to open mic night, you'd work out 5 minutes, then you'd graduate to 10 minutes, and then 15 minutes. You'd grind away at the comedy clubs up on Sunset.
Yeah.
I started doing 5 minutes to 2,000 people opening for my dad. So
So were other comedians like, did they hate you for it?
I don't even know because I was never even plugged into the scene. Like I didn't even know any other comedians. Probably,
Just talking shit behind your back.
Yeah, I'm sure. So yeah, I kind of had like a reverse career. Like I started at 2,000 people. And I didn't work a comedy club until like my maybe 5th year of doing stand up.
Wow.
Yeah, I worked here well, it's gone now, but the Riviera Hotel, the Riviera Comedy Club, and there was one called Laugh Tracks at the Palace Station out here, and a couple other clubs like in Houston, Texas, and stuff. But it's weird. I always felt like a host that was doing stand up.
Got it.
More than I certainly wasn't Chris Rock,
Like, what was your? Do you remember what any of your bits were?
Well,
about?
that's the other thing. It's like I was never me on stage because opening for my dad. Everybody's 60 years old or older.
Oh my God! Hope everyone brought their teeth tonight.
Yeah, I was 22. I'm in Branson, Missouri. I can't relate to these people, and like I couldn't really talk about. I talk like a truck driver normally, so I had to be squeaky clean, and it just was never. So
you're more of like an audience warmer.
That's
like
kind of how I felt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when I started doing the comedy clubs, I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I'm not ready for this. Like, even though I'd been doing 2 shows a day, 6 days a week at the first time I did a comedy club for 5 years, so I've already done like 1,000 shows, whatever. I was like, oh my God, this is nerve wracking, so then I had to like learn how to work on that kind of material and stuff. And then that's the other thing is like now, now a comedian you would never do, you won't see Joe Rogan do the same set longer than like 6 months.
Well, because of what, YouTube or whatever.
Correct.
I mean, it's like me. I'm not going to wear the same dress on the red carpet.
Right. Back then, comedians, like once you found 20 to 30 minutes that worked, that was your act for years.
Wow.
And
you could get by with that. You didn't have to worry about new material.
Yeah, because you were always going to different places and no one ever saw you on TV or anything. So it was like it was new for them for the first time, and when you do it enough times, you can kill with it. So that's kind of how I was. Like I had like 15, but anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes that could kill a 60 and up crowd. But then when you dropped me in the comedy club, it was like, ooh, I had like 3 good minutes.
Wow.
So it was hard to adjust with that. But I used to open for like Dionne Warwick and Tom Jones and the Four Tops and the Temptations. And I mean, you name anyone that's on the living or dead segment of Jeopardy, and I opened for them pretty much. Yeah.
And are you still in touch with those people, like through social media? Do they remember?
Yeah, not really. I don't talk to any, because I had very limited interaction with all the people I opened for. Other than just, hey, good show or after.
Because Dionne is now on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
She's like a big tweeter.
Yeah, she's on Twitter. She acknowledged some rapper, I think. I can't remember who it was a couple months ago. And he was like, I can't believe you know who I am. Like, he was so excited. I wish I could think of who it was. It wasn't T-Pain, but...
And it wasn't like Lil Nas
no.
or anybody.
Maybe the guy that dates with the Kardashians, maybe...
Oh, not Travis Scott.
Was it maybe him? I don't know.
Or the other one, the previous one, maybe. Oh, I don't know.
Can't keep up. Can't keep up with those Kardashians.
Wow, it's pretty bad.
You ever meet them?
I have not. I've been mistaken for Kim many times, but I have not.
I met Kim a few times. She's very nice.
She's a sweet girl.
Yeah, they're actually all very nice. I mean, I haven't seen them in probably 15 years or so, but they were all very nice, and that was like the beginning of them kind of taking off. But.
I mean, look, I have to give it to them that they seem to, even though they're larger than life for most of us, they've kept it pretty authentic, I believe. I believe that, I don't think that they've really, I mean, of course they're going to withhold certain things. But, I know Kim had struggled with trying to get pregnant, and she was really forthcoming with that and kind of showed a lot of that on the show and the arguments that they get into. So I don't think that they're trying to pass off that they're some perfect family by any stretch of the imagination. And I don't feel like they're amping it up for ratings either. I think that's really who they are.
Would you ever have wanted that level of fame? It seems awful, doesn't it?
It does seem really intrusive.
Like Justin Bieber, you ever see some like these videos of him, like paparazzi? Just don't leave these people alone. Yeah, like they're walking backwards, just videoing you, like just walking to your car. You can't do anything.
You can't do anything. And then obviously they're going to catch you when the worst angle, looking the worst, and then they're going to put you side by side when you're basically on a photo shoot, and then tell you you've had all this work done. And I don't know. It's hard. I mean, look, I didn't set out for the fame. That was really never my thing. My whole thing was I want to do meaningful work. And I love the idea of taking words on a piece of paper and bringing them to life. I mean, I even, it's so funny because I went from doing, movies and some horror movies, and then I ended up producing some Christian movies.
Really?
And not, Christian movies. The first Christian movie that I produced, it wasn't like puppies and butterflies. It was real life, and it was kind of like the Christian version of Crash. Do you remember the movie Crash?
I just watched it like literally 3 days ago.
Amazing. So a really good friend of mine, Dan Harris, his father was the producer, Mark Harris, of that, and I think he won an Oscar for that movie. But the movie really was about just shit that happens in real life. I mean, look, you can be a Christian. It doesn't mean you're going to have a perfect life. Right. I mean, so it was about this intersection of people. So one guy was having an affair. Another guy was contemplating suicide. And so, I loved...
Did they all connect?
They did at a diner. So they all end up sort of in this diner, and then the diner gets robbed.
Oh, wow. Were you in the movie also?
I was in the movie also.
And robbed like Pulp Fiction style kind of thing?
Yeah. Bad.
Wow.
And so you have to kind of come to the conclusion, like, what is your relationship with God at that moment? And there's blood. And there's, and it was funny because when I started doing some of the rewrites, because I was working with, the writers on it. And then it was really cute because one is like a Sunday school teacher. And so, I've lived a much different life, a little bit of a faster life than he had. Just he's a sweet, sweet gentleman. But he had written a scene, which you will probably be able to understand. He had said that basically, this girl meets this guy at a club, and then of course he takes her home, and he has a wife. And, the next scene is that she's in her pajamas and she's on the side of the street. And so I kind of had to say, Sheldon, I don't know anyone that goes to a club with pajamas in their purse. So she wouldn't have like button up pajama, you know what I mean? Like with her slippers, like it just was not real life. I'm like, why don't you just put her in one of his shirts, maybe? Because that's really not what's going to happen. The morning after, she's not going to have like
shame.
her, she's going to be in her wrinkled clothes.
No one prepares for the walk of shame.
Yeah, no. Yeah. And he was like, oh gosh, I guess I understand that's probably what happens, and it was kind of a hard conversation. He's just like a really strong Christian. Yeah. And for me to be like, we need to talk.
That's not how that would play out in real life.
Yeah, that's not reality. But the movie was really well received. And I thought people were going to be like, oh my gosh, because it's not like a Christian Cameron kind of a movie. It is real life, and people are going to jail, and people are trying to, slit people's throats. It was really crazy. But just to kind of so funny, just to come full circle. Right. Yeah. And then to be able to kind of have that to go from like horror movies. I know when we first came in, Travis had a doll.
It was like a Chucky doll.
I thought it was Chucky.
What was going on in there?
And I have a really vivid imagination because when I did horror movies, there was no acting involved. I mean, like I remember shooting like in Omaha, Nebraska or something. And it's one of these houses that have, those floor heaters, the vents that are in the floor.
Yeah.
That's fucked up. Those vents are fucked up because honestly, like I don't want to step on them.
Right.
Because even as a 50-year-old woman, there's something living.
Something can grab you and just drag you in there.
Yeah.
Forever.
And so I did a movie. There was a scene where I actually had to, I had like scars from when I had tried to apparently kill myself in the movie. And I had to like fall asleep and put my hand I knew the actor was under the bed. I know the actor was under the bed in real life, but still I was like, you know what I mean? Like I was like, oh my God, because I know he's going to touch like with his disgusting mangled hand that, special effects makeup has done, which I saw special effects makeup do the hand while I'm in the makeup trailer, but I'm still like flipping out, shitting my pants that this guy, like this monster, I've convinced myself it's a monster, is under the bed.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a question. When they do those movies, when we watch those movies, the music is like the exclamation point on that kind of a scene.
Yes.
Do they play that music just at least for inspiration or some kind of music when you're doing the scene, or it's just quiet?
No, it's quiet. Quiet on the set.
It's weird.
Let's go. Yeah. And then most of the time, I mean, especially if you're working with a bigger actor, they'll get his close-ups and I've got to get my face squeezed as tight to camera as possible so his eye line looks like he's, it's a good eye line.
Yep.
But then when they flip it around for, my close-ups, I'm looking at an X on a stand. I have an ex.
Oh, wow.
So I'm acting.
He doesn't have the time.
He doesn't have the time.
He can't be bothered.
He or she with my close-ups. Not everyone. Listen, when you're working with really the top of the line people, A-list, they will stay. They will stay for you.
And that's interesting, right?
Yes.
The big guys
will stay.
Are team players.
Right. But the more
other ones
level,
like to play the, I'm the lead.
Because they're insecure.
Right.
Because in reality, they still have that insecurity because they really are one job away from being jobless.
Right.
And so they just have massive insecurities. And then you have like basically, this woman, reading like, and the boy said, it's like, I'm going to kill you,
right.
And you're just like, oh my God, don't kill me. You're trying to like act off of an ex and this woman's reading basically, like by rote. It's
weird. I would have loved to have been an actor. I'm so bad at the audition. It's weird. Like I can get up. I haven't been on stage telling jokes since February 14th of 2002.
Wow.
I could get up tomorrow and struggle through 15 minutes, but I could do it and I really wouldn't have too much anxiety over it.
Yeah.
If you said to me right now, here's 4 pages of dialogue, you're going to go sit at a table like this, and there's going to be 3 people that are basically going to judge you that you're going to audition for, I fucking can't do it.
Well, they have classes for that. That's a totally different beast because being a good auditioner and being a good actor are 2 totally different things.
And that's funny you said that because I feel like if you gave me the part, I feel like I'd kill it.
Yes.
But in that setting, the audition setting, just a handful. I only went like maybe 3 or 4 auditions, and I was like, this isn't for me. I can't do this.
Yeah. No, there's actually like an auditioning class that teaches like cold reading. It teaches you basically how to get past that. Because I know one final thought, when I auditioned for the very final time for Son of the Beach, I had to be in a bathing suit because the show, you were going to be in a bathing suit, whether that was a 1-piece, a 2-piece, whatever. Ultimately, I ended up in a lot of clothing in that show because I was kind of like a really interesting character and not a lifeguard all the time. And so I was like a new lifeguard, so I was always in dresses and weird things. But for the audition, it was sort of almost a screen test in a way in front of, some of the executives. And so I thought, if I'm going to be in a bathing suit, I'm literally going to be in a bathing suit. So I went out and had a leather thong bikini made. Not just like a thong.
I like it.
Leather, black leather thong. And so I walk into the room.
That's where Amy Weber Unleashed was born.
That is
where
it was
that day.
I unleashed the beast. Because when I walked into that room, there were 40 people.
Oh, wow.
In that room that I had to audition in front of.
I can't do that.
And it's really difficult because what happens is before you screen test, you sign your contracts. And they say, like, don't think about the money. Don't put the cart before the horse. But you've seen what you're going to make. You see your future, right, for at least the next year, and then your bumps that you get for like year 2 and 3. And it's like you're trying not to think about it, but you've signed it. Like even on soap operas, before you screen test, you kind of see. And so I kind of knew, and Howard Stern was, in the room at the time. And
that was a huge deal. Like, I mean, Howard Stern. Like some people now, some younger people listening, I don't even know if they realize, like Travis, I don't even know if Travis even understands how big Howard Stern, like nothing for you. It means nothing to you, right?
Nothing.
That's just crazy, right?
He was a king of radio.
King of all media.
King of all media.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nicest guy.
So nice.
Yeah, coolest guy. I mean, obviously
nothing like his
persona.
Nothing.
I know. I think my husband was saying, he was a little bit degrading to women. I don't think I really listened to his show in the beginning when that was happening.
I mean, they're just bits.
Whatever.
Like now, it would. Yeah, forget it. Now they nail him to the cross. Forget it.
He would not have a show.
No.
But yeah, it was, you have to go in and you just got to put your big girl pants on, even if it's a thong at that time. And
put your big girl thong on.
Yeah, put your big girl thong on and just sort of, everything that you've done and rehearsed. And I'm not going to hold my sides.
Right.
Because that's super unprofessional. And so had to memorize, all 12 pages of dialogue. And yeah.
And a lot of times those, at least, again, I only have like 4 or 5 to draw experience from, but like it's such an uncomfortable setting. A lot of times they don't even tell you like when to start. They don't tell you Like you come in, they're like, state your name, whatever.
Slate your name, do your profiles.
Right. And then like, there's like uncomfortable, at least with me, like, like, okay, do I just go? Like, are you going to read them with me? Or are you like, what are we doing? Like, it's weird. And then their expressions, they're like poker face. Nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I walked in the room, I thought, okay, the only thing I can do is to somehow take control of the energy in this room. And I walked in and I was like, where's the party? I was just like, oh my God. Because what else was otherwise I'd be so nervous. And I'm like, I go, come on, man, let's do this. Right. And so it's like, I see those comedians also, you know, that I'm watching on some of these shows like America's Got Talent. And when they come in with just so pumped up, right, that energy, like there is not a single ounce of like bad, negative poker face energy that is going to bring these people down.
Right.
And you kind of have to go in with that. Like almost go in with the idea, even when I meet sellers nowadays, like I just go in saying, this listing is mine. Yeah, I just have that confidence that
it's coupled with that, and I don't give a fuck.
I don't give a shit whether I get it or not.
Isn't that crazy what positive results that attitude will yield?
Yes, because the entertainment industry is literally 90% confidence and 10% talent.
Yeah, I wish I knew that then, because I only had the 10% talent. I didn't have the confidence. I didn't know. Yeah.
You're just missing that 90%.
Yeah. Do you have any regret? Like with anything from acting or choices you made or anything like that?
I don't. I mean, look, I was invited to a lot of different meetings that I felt were inappropriate, at inappropriate settings, inappropriate times at night. Do I think had I have attended those, would I have maybe gotten to A-list status? Potentially. Yeah.
It's so funny. I used to always tell, because, you know, we worked with a lot of girls,
yes,
you know, back in the day when we had the PR firm, me and Gio. And I used to always tell them, like, if it can't happen between 9 and 5, it's bullshit. And I used to use Michael Bay. I used to say, Michael Bay does not want to discuss your career over dinner. He just doesn't. Get over it.
Yep.
You're lying to yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. But so many still
did it.
They chase the carrot.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I get it.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to fault anyone. I'm not going to judge anyone. Everyone has to basically live with their own decisions. And if people are cool with it, great. You know, I don't think I'm here to judge anyone. But for me personally, it just felt like I gave up so much. I mean, to have like the first person to go to college in my entire family, let alone the first person to get an academic scholarship. And, you know, just to give all that up, to come to California alone and then to kind of battle through the cancer, I just needed to look myself in the mirror and to feel like I like what's looking back at me, and I don't feel bad, right? I don't feel like you kind of, you know, gave in, or, you know, your principles and the morals that you set out for yourselves, you did not compromise those at all. So other than the one movie that I didn't stand up for myself, the first time I was on an actual movie set, there really are no regrets. I think every single moment, every hurdle, every bad, good, it led me to here. And I feel like at this point, I'm exactly where I need to be.
It's good.
Yeah. Well, it's been an amazing...
Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I know you normally don't do this, but I appreciate it.
No, it's all good. No one invites me.
Really?
No, rarely.
You're amazing.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Thank you. But yeah, I love that you come in and you're committed to doing this. And those shows you did yesterday, like you're obviously getting better and better at it. Just figuring out what you want your voice to be. I shouldn't even say better at it. It's just really you just figuring out, like, what do I want this show to be?
Yeah.
But like yesterday, that, you know, anybody listening or watching, like, you got to find the episode where she talks about cancer, your battle with.
And the infertility.
Yeah. I mean, that was really like,
thank you.
That was heavy stuff, but good. It's good for people to hear.
Yeah, I think podcast at the end of the day, you can kind of try to, you know, search for that, you know, unicorn or that leprechaun at the end of the rainbow and try to please everyone. But I think if you authentically are yourself and you're just sharing things that you've gone through in the hopes that they may help someone that's listening, I just think that's a win. You know, I think to try to figure out, like, as a podcast, what's going to make people happy and what's a good topic. It's like, if you just are authentically you and you have enough life lived and mistakes made and you've come through a lot of things and you're able to share those in an authentic way, I think it's worth listening to for sure.
100%.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Jono.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, everyone. I really appreciate you guys listening and watching another episode. We'll look forward to the next one. And again, hey, when it's raining, look for those rainbows. And when it's dark, go find those stars.